Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unfiltered Tales, Season 5, Episode 16. I am your host, Rod, and tonight we come with a show called Boundaries. And we're going all the way up north tonight with Zoe. I done messed up already. Cool, right?
Kiriakou, very close.
Kiriakou. Zoe Kiriakou of Mastermind Counseling Services. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing so well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chit chat with you.
Well, thank you for being here. But before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a licensed professional counselor.
Hmm.
I have a private practice. I'm the owner of a group practice. I specialize in anxiety and ADHD. And as you mentioned, boundaries, I'm super passionate about teaching people boundaries.
Okay, so how did you get? I mean, I know I read your profile 22 years ago, but for our listeners, how did you get, started with, counseling services?
Yeah, I love it. Thank you for asking. So from the time I was a kid, and I know it's going to sound silly, what kid wants to be a therapist? But from the time I was a kid, I realized I wanted to help in a profound way and I wanted to become a therapist. So when I went to college, my undergrad was in psychology. And like many people get their bachelor's in psychology, I was like, oh man, what am I going to do? What am I supposed to do with this degree?
Hmm.
Because I wasn't ready to go back to school for my master's at the time. So I started working with kids on the spectrum,
Hmm.
and I learned all about applied behavior analysis, or ABA, and
Hmm.
got to work with some amazing kids and learn all about behavior, studying behavior, analyzing behavior, which is so awesome.
Hmm.
Um, and that's kind of what threw me into the field of behavioral health. And I did that for as long as I could before I had my own family and took a break.
Okay. So
Yeah,
she says, say goodbye to chaos holding you back and hello to future filled with possibilities. So,
right.
what's the difference between setting boundaries and giving people rules to follow?
Yes. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's jump right in, right? So when I talk with my clients, sometimes they'll think I am setting boundaries with people. And they're not, right? We come to realize that maybe what they're doing is they're trying to communicate rules for other people. So let me give you a couple of examples and hopefully it resonates a little bit.
Okay.
If I said to you, Rod, don't please, I'm so tired in the evening, don't call me after 9 p.m. That's a rule that I'm attempting to give you. And maybe you'll follow it and
Right.
maybe you won't, right? Because I don't have control over what you think, say, or do. All I can do is communicate the rule. And sometimes that has its place, right? So the boundary is on me to set. And what
Right.
that means is it's time for a behavioral and a mindset shift. So the boundary would sound like, and this is me talking to myself, right? Because I got to be my own best friend. Hey, you know you're tired after 9 p.m. Moving forward, you, Zoe, are not going to answer the phone after 9 or reply to text after 9. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to put your phone on do not disturb. So that's a rule versus a boundary. Here's another one for you just to drive it home. I might say to you, Rod, I don't like the way you just talked to me. That didn't feel good. It felt kind of mean or it felt kind of nasty.
Hmm.
Please don't talk to me that way moving forward. And again, that's a rule. I'm trying to set a rule for you. You
Hmm.
can follow it or you can say, Zoe, I'm going to talk to you however I feel like talking to you. The boundary for me, remember, that's my behavioral and mindset shift would be when somebody talks to me in a way that makes me feel unheard, upset, makes me feel like I'm I'm being gaslit or manipulated or whatever. I'm going to, moving forward, walk away, hang up, or not reply to the text. And that's on me.
Hmm.
That's a line I'm drawing in the sand. Nobody, I don't even have to communicate that part. It's on my behavior to start making that change.
Okay. So I get what you said, and I understand what you said, but now you might just have a habitual line stepper that might just
I,
know that, like,
yeah,
yeah, that
you're
knows at the
right.
9:30, 9 o'clock that don't do this. And now you got to differentiate the difference between your boundaries and now just a habitual person that just doesn't care.
Yes. Yeah. So great point. What do we do when we have not only communicated a rule verbally to somebody, please don't call me after 9 o'clock, right? And I have developed this boundary of I'm just not going to answer it. And that
Hmm.
person is still 9:30, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, every other day, whatever, like clockwork, trying to call, trying to wake me up, right? Well, I either hold firm on my boundary or I say to myself, is this a person that belongs in my life? And now we're using a silly example of like, calling at 9:30, but and sometimes it's bigger than that, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes the line stepping is going too far of crossing over our
Hmm.
boundaries. If somebody is perpetually crossing our boundaries, what do we do with that person? Are they adding value to my life or are they reductive? That's a big question. And it's hard to make those cuts when we edit our friend circle, our family circle. But once we start setting the boundaries, we start to see how people are reacting to those boundaries. Are they respecting them? Are they getting mad and upset? Are they crossing them? And now you can make an informed decision on what place that person has in your life.
Okay, hold on, got a question. Where's the room for in case of emergencies?
Yeah. Yeah. So these are
I'll
just
leave it
some
up. I'll leave it
examples,
up.
right? But yeah, thank you. Where is the room for in case of emergencies? Of course, right? Boundaries are not meant to be a brick wall. They're meant to
Right.
be this sort of imperceptible line in the sand for me to follow. It's for me. So if I want to say, oh my goodness, I see that my phone is ringing and it's my mom for the second time, I can answer that. Get
Hmm.
that. The boundary is for me to protect my peace, right?
Hmm.
It's saying no when you don't want to say yes. It's allowing for somebody else to get upset with you and tolerating that because I'm not people pleasing, right? Okay, you are allowed to disagree with me. You're allowed to be angry with me. And I can recognize that I am enough. It's I'm not taking responsibility for someone else's emotions. And no, that doesn't mean I get to be a jerk. It means I'm going to communicate with empathy and understanding, and I hope that you receive them. But if you don't receive that, I can't coddle your emotions for you and carry them for you. You have to process those. I'm not in control of another person's thoughts, feelings, and doings. So, of course, there's room for just in case of emergencies because the boundary is mine to do with what I want.
Correct. Now, how I would approach that is like, if I just know, like, for me, how I grew up, when a person call you at a certain time, like they call you 2, 3 in the morning, it's some type of emergency. And then if I
For
pick up the
sure.
phone and you just say, "Yo, what you doing?" I'm hanging up because now you done violated my space at 2, 3 in the morning because I'm thinking something's wrong.
Hmm.
At that point in time, I don't expect nobody just call me 2, 3 in the morning just to chat and say,
Sure.
"Hey, what's up?" I'm thinking automatically something wrong. I done received enough calls in my lifetime at 4 or 5 in the morning, just was like, "Such and such, has passed." So it's like that first thing hits my mind when I see, depending on who the person is calling, especially a family member, that
Yeah.
I know that's not up that time of night.
Of course, absolutely. And you are modifying your own boundaries in that moment to make space for, God forbid, an emergency, right? So, yeah, that can happen sometimes. But remember, you get to come back to strengthening those boundaries if you need to because they are yours.
Correct? So you strengthen your own boundaries. What are the
Yes.
connections between boundaries and self-worth?
Ooh, so good. Okay. For a lot of clients, what we see is they come in, they're reporting feeling anxiety. We start to dig into where that anxiety is coming from. And what we start to discover is that they're anticipating. the emotional needs of other people. Well, I don't want to say that or do that because he might get mad, she might get sad, right? And they're sitting in this anticipation of how someone else might feel. Okay. When we start to work through that, what's really going on here? What are you afraid of? For many people, there's a fear of not being liked.
Mhm.
And if we go even further than that, for some people, there's a fear of abandonment. Well, I don't want that friend to leave me. I
Mhm.
don't want my family member to stop talking to me. So, where the self worth starts to come in is recognizing, hey, you are enough as you are today.
Mhm.
You don't have to anticipate other people's feelings and carry that for them out of fear of being unliked and unloved. The people that love you are staying.
Mhm.
So we start to strengthen the boundaries. We start to realize, wait a minute, I am enough as I am today. I don't have to say yes when I really mean no. And the
Mhm.
people that love me will be right here with me through that. So, yes, when the boundaries come up, the self worth comes up too, because there's a recognition of I'm enough as I am without people pleasing all day with everyone.
Okay. So now, what I swing back to you about people pleasing, the age that we live in the social media world, the difference from baby boomers to
Mm.
the millennials, the Gen Z, the Gen Alpha right now.
Mhm.
Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they're all for the more of people pleasing. Like they just can't say no. Where I think the word no kind of cuts off with the millennial. I'll say right there with the millennials, whereas though you don't really care if you're not made to be liked by everyone, but in this world that we live in, it's about likes and clicks and likes, clicks, basically social media.
Social media has promoted a lot of comparisons with everybody from Gen Alpha up to, I would say, Gen X, right? There's a lot of
Hmm.
comparing lives, right?
Hmm.
They're going on vacation and I'm not. He's got abs and I don't, and on and on. So we do see a lot of comparison happening. When we compare and contrast in that way, it reduces our self esteem because we start to believe that we are not enough, right? And again, when we think we're not enough as we are today, do we start to please a little bit more so that we are liked and loved and clicked, follow and heart and all that stuff? That being said, the group that and I don't work with people under 18 at my practice. I work with 18 and up. The people
Hmm.
that I see the most people pleasing are people that have the boomer parents. So I would say like the millennials mostly,
Hmm.
because if we think about the baby boomers, they're very stoic.
Hmm.
There's not a lot of communication. There's not a lot of demonstration of emotion.
Hmm.
So when we have parents that go silent or waver in the way they demonstrate their love, it leaves room for, wait a minute, is mommy mad at me? Did I do something? Or I'm just gonna do my best. I'm gonna be the most perfect kid I can because I don't want mommy and daddy to be upset with me. And there's this sort of neglect of emotion that happens with those two age groups, right? So we've got the boomer parents and the millennial kid. Um, and so we grow up and we think, well, in order to really get that love and adoration, let me be this perfect type A person that is people pleasing at work, in my friendships, and in my relationships, and on and on. So is that 100% for everybody that has a boomer parent? Of course not. But that's the age group that I see it the most in is the millennials.
Okay. So you have, I guess, okay, so we'll stick with that. So you have a smart. So why do so many smart people, self-aware people, still struggle with people pleasing?
I have found that most people don't totally realize they're doing it. They don't
Okay.
realize that they're anticipating everybody's needs and deprioritizing themselves. And by the time they come to me, for many people, they're symptomatic. They're
Hmm.
anxious and they're burnt out. So they're not sleeping well at night. They're highly irritable, maybe even angry. And they don't realize that what's happening under the surface is that they've been carrying the weight of everybody else's emotions in their life, except for
Hmm.
their own. Their own prioritization has gone out the window. So yes, it's these high functioning adults. They're working, they're
I think she
working and
froze.
going to school. They're uh-oh, are we okay?
We okay. We okay. We okay.
Okay. They're their husbands and wives, they're working, their parents, they're going to school for their master's degree or their PhD or something like that. They're super high functioning people. But that almost adds to it sometimes. So yes, they are super smart, but they don't always realize that they're holding way too much on their back for other people.
Okay. So
Yeah.
typically, as some of the old prophecies say and old proverbs say, you got the weight of the world on your shoulders
Yeah.
when you think that way. And you're going to some point either self sabotage or you're going to burn out.
Hmm.
So, what are some common signs someone's about to burn out and they don't even realize it?
Okay. So let's check in on some of the big pillars of our life. Number one, are you sleeping? Are you sleeping well? Right? Are you
Okay.
getting the quantity and quality that you need? Or have you noticed that your sleep is starting to dwindle a bit? Okay. Two, how's your appetite? Are you eating regularly or are you losing your appetite often? Or the opposite, are you overeating because you're compensating for your emotions?
Hmm.
How are your relationships? Are your relationships nice and healthy? You're communicating, people are respecting you, you're respecting them back. It's okay to have distance, you're healthy with that. Um, how are you doing at work? How are your work relationships? Are you getting your work in on time? So we want to check on these main pillar sort of health areas of life. And then let's go even a step deeper. Are you believing that you're starting to become symptomatic of anxiety or depression? Because again, unfortunately, for many people, they're not using therapy in a preventative way. They're coming when they're feeling really, really bad. If if you're starting to feel that you are irritable and angry, and that is not typically you or your personality, something's up, right?
Hmm.
Something. Anger is a anger and irritability are second kind of secondary emotions. There's usually something happening under the surface that's the primary emotion.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, with all of that said, so what are some of your personal favorite real life tools for building emotional regulation and executive functioning?
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about some ways to regulate your emotions. So now you're recognizing, oh boy, my emotions are getting away from me. I'm upset a lot of the time. I'm crying. I'm irritable. What do we do? Bless you.
Thank you.
Um, First things first, and this is what I teach everybody. First things first, we have to start recognizing our thought patterns and our behavior patterns. So I want you to think of it as a triangle. This is the cognitive behavior theory. Think of it as a triangle. Thoughts are connected to emotions, emotions are connected to behaviors, and back around the triangle we go. Thoughts, emotions, behaviors, right? Triangle.
Hmm.
How are you thinking about yourself and your life? Are your thoughts healthy? Are they neutral to positive? Are they based in facts? Or are you telling yourself stories and scenarios that are upsetting you? Because a lot of times, especially for people that are anxious, there's these worry loop that we go into. So
Right.
step one is you have to build awareness to your thoughts. And if your thoughts are not helping you to feel the way that you want to feel, and for most of us, we just want to feel at peace and content, then we've got to do some work on those thoughts. Let's jump over to behaviors because thoughts and behaviors are in our control. The way I think, we want it to be healthy and positive and based in facts. Okay, let's jump over to behaviors. Are your behaviors aligned with who you want to be on this earth? Are your behaviors aligned with how you want to feel? If your coping strategy is to lay in bed for 48 hours, is that helping you feel the way you want to feel? If your coping strategy is to drink half a handle of vodka, is that helping you to feel the way you want to feel? If your coping strategy is gossiping half the day, is that helping you feel the way you want to feel? Or does it help you feel better when you do well? I take a walk, I journal, I get adequate rest, I drink my water. Ahem.
Mhm.
Right?
Right?
So when we control our thoughts and behaviors in a healthy way, the emotions start getting better, more comfortable.
Okay. Got you. So now I guess this will be personal for you. So how has your own life as a single mother shaped the way you show up for your clients?
Yeah. Um, just because I'm a therapist does not mean I am exempt from life's challenges. I have experienced profound loss. I have
Hmm.
been through a divorce. I take care, I co-parent and take care of my three children by myself. I run two businesses by myself. So um, I know what it means to have a hard day, a hard month, a hard year. Um, and I think that only helps me to be more understanding and more empathetic for the people that come through my door every day because I can pause, put myself in their shoes, and feel what it might feel like to have the day that they're having when you come in.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
so why do high achieving women often feel like they're never doing enough?
Oof. So we all know times have changed a bit, right? In
Hmm.
order to afford to live in this world, we all have to be working, right? So the days of, the husband going out and working his 9 to 5 and being able to afford to take care of the whole family, it's not quite like that, especially in, metro areas. Think,
Hmm.
New York, New Jersey, California, etc. The cost of living is a lot. So women are also working full time.
Hmm.
Okay, so the women are working full time, but they often feel the weight on their shoulders of, but I also have to be the perfect parent and I also have to do my wifely duties and I need to uphold the household. And so for a lot of women, unfortunately, what happens is they feel that rest has to be earned instead of just recognizing that you're allowed to rest as you need it, as your mind and body need it, right?
Hmm.
So they almost assign a sort of moral value. There's this sort of moral implication to doing care tasks. If I don't get my son's, soccer pants clean and his cleats cleaned off of the grass and the dirt, that makes
Hmm.
me a bad mom. If I don't pick up my husband's dry cleaning and have dinner ready on the table, that makes me a bad wife, so to speak, right? So for many people, there's this sort of moral implication to doing care tasks, except here's the thing, guys. M- Care tasks are morally neutral.
Hmm.
There is no laundry police coming to check to see if you folded the laundry that's sitting in your dryer. There is no police coming to see, like, did she vacuum today? You are allowed to rest as your mind and body need it. You are allowed to let certain balls drop. And here's the analogy that I use for that. I want you to think of the things that you
Hmm.
have to do every day as either a glass ball or a rubber ball. Because we use the expression like I'm keeping a lot of balls
Hmm.
up in the air, right? On any given day, you get to decide what's a glass ball and what's a rubber ball. So for me today, it's 7:30
Hmm.
p.m. where I am right now. There's a basket of laundry sitting that needs to be folded. That laundry might be a rubber ball. I might let that ball drop and guess what? It bounces. So tomorrow, if I fold the laundry, it's fine. What's always a glass ball for me
Hmm.
are my children. I never let that
Hmm.
ball drop, right? But maybe emptying the dishwasher is a rubber ball. Maybe if my kids are here, it's a glass ball because we need plates to eat off of, right? You get to decide from day to day, what's a glass ball and what's a rubber ball?
I am the laundry police.
You're the laundry police. Yeah. Don't come look at
Yeah,
my basket.
yeah. So, okay, last one. So, what's one thing
Yeah.
you wish more people understood about therapy or coaching, and how does it actually work?
Ooh. Okay. All right. Therapy and coaching. We're here. I like that comment. I let it bounce until I get ready. Exactly. Okay. So therapy and coaching, it's for you. It's for you to feel better. It's not for you to strive for some expectation that the therapist or coach has. We're here to walk with you side by side on your journey. You lead the way. We'll follow holding, so holding your hand, so to speak, until you're feeling good enough and strong enough to let go. We're here for support. Don't worry about the diagnosis. Don't worry about the treatment plan. Let us worry about that, right? We're
Hmm.
here to get you feeling peace on the inside again, right? When the world is chaotic around you, let us help you find the inner peace. It's in there. You just need the tools to do it. Don't
Right.
let stigma get in the way of getting help.
Okay. Well, this is my favorite part of the show. If you watch the show, this is the part called "I Be Damned," where people send in stories. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets killed. It's just crazy nonsense that happens. So we got this week. My baby mama lost her job and decided to clean homes. Oh, entrepreneur. People want to hire established cleaners with a cleaning agency, so she created a fake agency. I answered the phone and booked appointments. Cool. The biz wasn't real. She was cleaning homes and getting paid, but there was no agency. Just hit me
Oh.
and the burner on the burner phone. So I planned to hit a few licks. She cleaned a spot for a special occasion and I returned and robbed the place behind her. A homeowner shot at me and I got caught. My attorney says I can cut a deal by implicating my baby mother as the mastermind and I'm just the employee. She lost all her clients and they think she's involved anyway. I hesitate to do this because no one is available to watch our kid, but I can't spend 15 years in jail for a home invasion neither. I need to think about my future. I be
Wow,
damned.
that's a story, man.
Yeah, a lot of crazy people in this world,
Yeah, yeah. Accountability, right?
right?
There's consequences to everything we do. Good. And when I say consequences, the good kind and the not so good kind. There's consequences for every action.
Correct. So, if we're looking for you, where can they find you at, Miss Zoe?
Yes, come find me. Okay, so if you're in the New Jersey area and you're seeking therapy, go to mastermindcounseling.com and there's a contact form there. If you're not in New Jersey, but you still want to work with somebody that has ADHD and anxiety experience, and you're looking for a coach, go to Mastermind Counseling and click on personal growth coaching, and that'll take you to the coaching page.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
thank you for coming. You're always
Thank you for
welcome.
having me.
You always
Thank
welcome.
you.
So, next week, same time, same place, Miss Lisa Johnson will be in the building, the co-founder of Been There, Got Out, a high conflict divorce strategist. She spent the 4 years, spent 100K on a divorce, and she had no choice but to represent herself. So we're gonna find out how she did it. Been there, got out. Divorce strategist with Miss Lisa Johnson next week, 7 p.m. same time. Well, she's from up north as well, so same time, same place. Next week, 7 p.m. Unfiltered Tales. Uh, as she stated, if you want therapy, she's the CEO of Mastermind Counseling in New Jersey. The information is actually scrolling at the bottom of the screen, mastermindcounseling.com. And on Instagram, I believe she's your dot therapy dot godmother.
Yes.
Try
Find
to
me,
remember
DM
some
me.
things.
Yep.
Try to remember some things. But thank you. We'll see you next week, 7
Thank
p.m.
you.
Eastern Time.
Thank you.